The Dallas Mavericks made the biggest splash of the NBA draft when they traded the number 5 pick and a future first round pick to the Atlanta Hawks for the number 3 pick. And we all know who they selected with this pick, Luka Doncic. Luka has long been a favourite of mine in this draft, and I think I would have taken him first had I have been Phoenix. I was shocked that the Kings took Bagley, but I think they wanted to go with the safety of a hyper-athletic big man who had played in the traditional parts of the NBA, and they could be confident that he would pan out. This video will take a look at the trade and what it means for the Mavericks and contemplate their potential moves in free agency. Before asking the final question, can the Mavericks turn their young core into a championship team? The biggest cost for the Mavericks is the pick that they sent in order to move up 2 spots in the draft and grab Doncic. They sent next year's first round pick to Atlanta, but it is at least lottery protected. This could end up biting them down the track if they have to convey a high pick to the Hawks, but it is a price worth paying for Doncic. Prospects as good as him simply don't come around often, and Dallas were very, very smart to give up one future pick in order to secure Luka now. And this is because Dallas already has some foundational pieces on the roster whose timelines match up with Luka. The Mavericks only have 3 other players tied up past this season now: Dennis Smith Jr., who is 20 years old, and Harrison Barnes and Dwight Powell, who are both 26. Now, Dwight Powell is a bit of a nightmare contract, but he has developed every single season into a player who can play small ball 5 quite well. His 3-point shooting has improved every season, and he could blossom into a good bench player on a championship team in his future. But even if he doesn't, Powell is tradable, and by the time the Mavericks are ready to contend, they can simply let him go in free agency. Harrison Barnes, on the other hand, is an incredibly talented player who blossomed in the number 1 role last year on the Mavericks. But he only averages 19 points a game, and I think he is destined to play as the 3rd or 4th option on this Mavericks team in the future. But as we saw in Golden State, his playstyle is suited to such a role. He can hit threes, is athletic, can defend, get out in transition, and abuse mismatches in the post when teams put smaller players on him. Barnes will benefit playing alongside Doncic, and his versatility and ability to play the 3 and the 4 will help him spend a lot of time on the court with Luka. This is one of the best strengths of Barnes. With Luka and Barnes, they have 2 of their 3 wingmen locked up for the future. But they could go out and acquire a shooting guard, a small forward, or a power forward to put next to these 2 guys, and the team would still function on the court. This positional versatility is fantastic for a team with as much cap space and flexibility as the Mavericks have. Then, there is Dennis Smith Jr., the young athletic point guard who put up 15 points and 5 assists a game in his rookie year and got better and better as the season went on. His shooting splits weren't fantastic, but that is normal for a young point guard, and we can expect him to increase his shooting splits this coming season. But Smith's value comes from his ability to get downhill and drive on opposing defenses to break them down for a layup, emphatic dunk, or even just dish it out to a teammate. Smith is also good in the pick and roll and uses the separation he gets from a screen and slams downhill to get to the rim. Smith surprised a lot of people with how good he was at passing when doubled, and he made some good reads out of the pick and roll in his rookie year. He's never going to be a transcendent passer, but he has the ability to buy into a team-first offense and run it smoothly. And with Luka on the team, he'll have the ball in his hands a little bit less, but due to his speed and ability to attack closeout, this may actually benefit him. It could also help him find the ability to shoot threes at a more consistent level due to having more time and space when he catches the ball. And this is what Doncic will bring to the entire team: time and space. He plays the game of basketball with such a natural ease that it appears as if he is one step ahead of everyone on the court at all times. He might lose some of this calmness in his first few months in the NBA, but as he adjusts to the game, I fully expect this skill to come back. The best example of this is in the pick and roll. Doncic is a pick and roll savant. He's one of the best pick and roll ball handlers that I've ever seen at such a young age. He has mastered a few things that take most players years to master. Those being the ability to use a screen multiple times and shooting threes off of the dribble over screens. Being a 6'8" guard, Doncic has a natural advantage in the pick and roll. It gives him the ability to see over defensive coverages and make the skip pass. But he can also simply attack downhill and has shown the ability to shoot floaters, finish through traffic, and to pull out switch big men and attack them in isolation. He is also a fantastic passer in the pick and roll and will benefit so much from playing alongside NBA big men. And not to knock any of the big men in Europe, but they simply don't have the athleticism or skill average of the top NBA big men. Doncic will thrive next to them. He'll get more space off of screens and will be able to throw lobs when teams double team or hedge too hard off at the pick and roll. Playing this to a guy like Nerlens Noel would allow for this to happen with regularity. And over his NBA career, I hope that Doncic gets to play with many fantastic and athletic big men. Luka's other main skill is his three-point shooting off of screens. This has become such a desirable trait as it really stretches teams' coverages and forces a hard hedge in pick and rolls. When this happens, it is so easy for the big man to slip wide open to the rim and receive a pass for an easy dunk, or to pass out of the trap there. Doncic can do this at such a high level and will hit threes off screens in the NBA. And when he does, teams will have to adjust their defense to a hard hedge, and then he'll simply get the ball to his big man and allow them to make a move. And then when he plays off ball, Luka is a great three-point threat and can attack off the dribble just as well as he does with the ball in hand. Simply put, Luka is a beast on the court, and the Dallas Mavericks are very blessed to have him. But with only 3 other players locked up long term, the Mavericks will have to be very, very careful with how they go about in free agency and future trades to ensure that they put a contender around Luka. The good news for this is that they have $31 million in cap space already this season and will have around $60 million in the following year. They could potentially go after a max free agent this season, or they could try and load up on some smaller contracts to gain value players for the future. In terms of the max players available in this year's free agency, there are LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Paul George, and Chris Paul. But the reality is that none of those guys are going to be coming to Dallas. Dallas won't be winning championships in the next 2 or 3 years, and they can all get max money from teams that can contend, and I'd be absolutely floored if any of them went to the Mavericks. But one potential max free agent that might consider Dallas is DeMarcus Cousins. Cousins is likely to stay with the Pelicans, but he has a horrible injury and teams might be wary of giving him a max contract. Here is where Dallas could come in and pitch their desire for him with a max contract from day one. Now it is still a long shot, but the potential to play alongside Smith Jr., Barnes, and Doncic for years could be appealing to Cousins, and they could potentially snag the big man. If they did, they could be a strong playoff team almost immediately. Cousins would be the perfect big man to play next to Doncic. He can shoot threes and is the most skilled offensive big man in the middle. This would take pressure off of Doncic as teams wouldn't be able to double team him as much, and it could ease the defensive pressure of him from day one. He'd also give Dallas the option of posting up more, and this could be interesting to watch with Luka. He's a great passer and has the height to get the ball into the post over most defenders. Then, he has the skill and basketball knowledge to be able to cut effectively, and Boogie is such a talented passer, he would hit him with great passes and create open dunks and easy layups. But by far the best reason for Boogie is it would create a situation where all 5 players on the court could shoot threes, and the spacing would be incredible for Doncic. But even if he doesn't come to Dallas, there is still great talent there for Luka to learn from. The presence of Dirk Nowitzki will be fantastic for Doncic. As the greatest European player to ever pick up a basketball, he'll have so much experience and knowledge to give to Luka. The first thing will be the great knowledge and experience of transitioning from European leagues to the NBA itself. What should he look out for and how he should adjust this game. The other thing will be his shooting tips. Tons of players have credited Dirk for passing on amazing shooting techniques and training tips that they use to improve their shooting levels. Doncic is already a great shooter, but being mentored by Dirk in this area could potentially lead to him being a 40+% three-point shooter in the league. If the Mavericks do strike out on Boogie, I would want them to be conservative with their free agency moves and not swing for the fences with average players. Going after someone like Clint Capella could be appealing, but the Rockets would almost definitely match a max offer. They should instead target players who have already been neglected around the league but still have talent, guys like Mario Hezonja, and give them 2 or 3 year deals for a low amount of money. This preserves the team's flexibility, but if they strike gold, then they can trade them for picks and accumulate a war chest to go out and trade for another great player to put next to Doncic. If they can't get any guys like this, I would simply preserve as much cap space as possible and see how next year pans out. If the team sucks, then they can take on bad contracts and get another top pick. And if they are decent, they can ride their first year of success with Luka because there will be many. Overall, this trade for Luka Doncic has been fantastic for the Dallas Mavericks. They only had to give up 1 future pick in order to move up and secure a player that they were confident would be a cornerstone piece for their franchise in the future. If they picked 4th or 5th as they intended to pick, then they may not have had a guy available of Doncic's capability and might have been stuck with Trae Young, who might still be a really, really good NBA player, but is nowhere near the level of guaranteed talent that Luka Doncic presents right now. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more NBA videos in the future. And leave a comment below with what you think of this trade and Doncic's future with the Dallas Mavericks.